And how you doing, guys? Welcome to the new year, of course, which is 2014. A lot of new stuff coming out, or came out, actually at the right around December timeframe for Apple, and which we're going to be talking about. Of course, they got the new Mac Pro 2013 model late, and they updated a lot of their software as well. Primarily, Final Cut Pro 10.1's out, Compressor 4.1, and of course Motion. They've been updated primarily to support the new Mac Pro, which is using dual workstation graphic cards and so on. Now, I'm not really going to talk about some of the other software they updated. It's primarily Compressor 4.1 because that's the one we've been waiting on. They did update it when Final Cut Pro 10 came out, but the interface was still the same. It didn't support 64-bit. There were some new changes, but this has been the most comprehensive change since Final Cut Pro 10 came out. Now we're going to talk a little bit about it first before I show you some of the new interface changes for Compressor 4.1. Now, it also supports hardware encoding if that's available for your computer. Now, I'll give you an example. If you're using an Intel processor using quick sync technology, so if you have a i5 processor, i7, Ivy Bridge, and so on, Compressor by default will use hardware encoding, which can speed it up as much as 75%, which is really great for people doing videos. Another thing is the interface for, give you an example, if you're using other computers on your network for encoding, that's been much improved using QMaster and so forth. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And also, you can use your own computer. Before, it would basically just use one processor for encoding. So you can actually, depending on the type of computer you have, you can put up multiple instances on your Mac that if it has multiple cores, enough RAM in there. Now, like I said, it all depends on which computer you have. And let's look at a chart from Apple's website. And I'm going to show you that now. And this is for it to work. Like I said, you can't necessarily enable it. You're going to have a certain amount of cores and RAM installed. Now, I do have a 8-core 2009 Mac Pro, which has 8 real cores and 8 virtual cores, or hyper-threading, for a total of 16, and 24 gigabytes of RAM, so I can actually run three extra instances of Compressor for a total of 4 can be run at the same time. So this chart kind of shows you how to do that, and I'm going to show you that in the demonstration as well. And another problem with Final Cut Pro 10 is when you they have a thing in there where once you get done with your project and you send it off to Compressor, or there's a little thing in there that says send to Compressor straight from Final Cut Pro 10, it would actually only use 1 core. You couldn't set it up to use multiple cores on your same computer. So there's a workaround. You got to actually export it as another file on the desktop, and then you got to import it and then redo it. To me, that's just a waste of time and hard drive space. Now this seems to be fixed, so you can actually send it to Compressor within Final Cut Pro 10 and run multiple instances on your multi-core Mac Pro or whatever computer you're using. And now let's go ahead and look at the interface. And how you guys doing? Here we are on the my Mac Pro desktop with Final Cut Pro 10.1 running, and we're going to be exporting a project into the new Compressor 4.1. And like I said, there was this part that it wouldn't let you do. You could send to Compressor from Final Cut Pro 10. It would only really use 1 core. So that seems to either been fixed or enabled. And let's go to send to Compressor, and I'm going to show you that. But first we're going to take a look at the interface before we actually send this out to be rendered, and I'll show you how it uses rendering multiple cores. And this is everything's been unified before. The old compressor would have 4 separate windows, and pretty much everything is one window now, which is a little bit easier to organize. And so basically you have the one main window right here: current, active, things being compressed, and then completed jobs. And both on the left and right sides, the left right here is all your pre-settings that are you can use and or modify. And here's some send to these right here for sharing. These are mainly to upload to the websites directly after you compile it. And then here's some of your regular presets. Now, which is new is, for example, for YouTube, they have a 4K setting, which they also added. And of course, any custom presets that you make off of it. Okay, on the right side, in fact, let's go ahead. And since we're doing this, I am going to put this preset right in here because we're going to see that off of the... it appears to be a little bit slow. There we go. And probably because I'm screencasting this at the same time. Okay, we have it loaded up. So we're actually... the inspector is now integrated, like I said, on the right side tab. And we're seeing the job now. So if you want to change any settings and or make presets, you have general tab, video, and audio. We're going to go to the video tab and change some of the QuickTime settings right here. And I do have it enabled for X264 encoder. And I think it makes it really nice because once you have everything set, you can take away the tabs you don't really need and just concentrate on the jobs being rendered. Also, something else has really changed and make it super simple, and occasionally even I had problems on it, is if you use multiple Mac computers to help you render video jobs, that has been much simplified. If you go into Preferences and My Computer, you can enable to allow other computers to use this Mac for rendering. You have a simple on and off switch. Makes it much simplified. Also, well, of course, shared computers showing any computer used for rendering on the network, and then it shows all the network computers. Now, this is what has been fixed. Like I said, when you send your job, send to Compressor, this is what allows you to use multiple cores. Depending on, like I said, it all depends on the amount of cores you have and RAM. Unfortunately, that's kind of a limit. Before it was, it didn't have a minimum, but you have to have a minimum amount to get this to work. Now, you would go, if you want to use multiple instances on the same computer to allow you to use multiple cores, you have to go in here, enable additional compressor instances. And since I do have 16 cores, 8 real, 8 virtual, and 24 gigs of memory, I can actually do 3 more instances of Compressor for a total of 4. And I can set it down or up depending on how much I want to use. And so I just enabled that, and we're actually going to send a job for this. We're going to start batch. Okay, it's showing active right now. And we're actually going to take a look at it because now we should be showing multiple instances, a total of at least 4. So now that works. You don't have to send the job, export it, and then import it to use multiple instances. Now it actually works, which is great. So a great update to Compressor 4.1.